Most people think healthcare is something you figure out after you retire. But for many retirees, healthcare quietly decides where they live, how long they travel, and how free they actually feel. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Two retirees can have the same savings, the same health, even the same dream lifestyle. One feels calm, flexible, and confident. The other feels stuck, anxious, and constantly worried about making the wrong move. The difference isn't luck. It's how they plan healthcare before Medicare. In this video, we're going to talk about healthcare and retirement in a way that most videos don't. Not as a list of policies, not as a maze of confusing rules, but as a life decision. By the end of this video, you'll understand how confident retirees handle healthcare in a way that protects their freedom, supports travel, and removes anxiety, even before Medicare begins. And later, I'll share the one realization most retirees discover too late, the one that quietly determines how flexible your retirement really is. Here's the truth most people miss. Healthcare doesn't just affect your budget. It affects when you retire, how long you travel, where you can live, and how relaxed you feel doing any of it. And once you understand that, you stop asking, how do I afford healthcare? And start asking a much better question. When people talk about healthcare and retirement, they usually say they're worried about costs. But if you listen closely, that's not the real fear. The real fear is losing control. Not knowing what happens if something goes wrong. Not knowing whether a decision today locks you into stress tomorrow. Not knowing whether a move, a trip, or a lifestyle change could suddenly become risky. Employer insurance hides this fear for decades. You show up to work. Coverage just exists. But once you retire early, that safety net disappears, and suddenly the system feels exposed. That's why healthcare feels so heavy. Not because it's impossible, but because it feels unpredictable. Confident retirees don't think of healthcare as a bill. They think of it as infrastructure. Just like roads enable travel, healthcare planning enables freedom. They understand one key idea. Healthcare decisions shape lifestyle options, not the other way around. Once you see that, planning becomes calmer, not scarier. Imagine two couples, same age, same savings, same dream. They both want a simple home base and the freedom to travel for a few months each year. Couple A retires without really thinking through healthcare. They assume they'll figure it out later. Every trip feels tentative. Every move feels risky. They hesitate before leaving the country. They worry about income limits, coverage gaps, and surprises. Couple B plans healthcare intentionally. They understand how income affects coverage. They know which choices are flexible and which aren't. They built breathing room into their plan. They travel longer. They stress less. They don't panic every time a decision comes up. Same savings, same health, completely different experience. One of the most common mistakes retirees make is thinking, I'll deal with healthcare after I retire. But healthcare planning works best before retirement, especially before Medicare. Because the years between retirement and Medicare are unique. No employer income, no required benefits yet. Often, no Social Security. This creates something rare, income flexibility. And that flexibility is powerful if you use it. This is where many people get confused. Healthcare subsidies, premiums, and eligibility are not based on how much you saved. They're based on income. Two retirees can spend the same amount, live the same lifestyle, and still pay wildly different healthcare costs simply because their income is structured differently. Confident retirees understand this early. They don't aim for zero income. They aim for controlled income, enough to live well, low enough to preserve flexibility. Think about this for a moment. You could spend $120,000 a year and still show far less than that as income. How? Because not all money you use counts the same. Some sources affect healthcare calculations. Some don't. Confident retirees design their income intentionally, blending sources in a way that keeps their options open. This isn't gaming the system. It's understanding the rules. Now let's talk about travel. Because this is where healthcare planning becomes personal. Travel isn't just about flights and hotels. It's about peace of mind. Can I leave for 3 months? What happens if something goes wrong? Will this decision affect my coverage next year? Retirees who haven't planned healthcare often travel shorter, closer, and more cautiously. Not because they want to, but because uncertainty quietly limits them. Confident retirees plan healthcare with travel in mind. They understand coverage rules. They plan income timing. They choose locations thoughtfully. And because of that, travel feels lighter. Healthcare costs and options are not the same everywhere. Where you live can affect premiums, plan quality, availability, and out-of-pocket exposure. Some retirees unknowingly choose locations that quietly increase costs. Others factor healthcare into their location decisions early and gain flexibility. This doesn't mean chasing the cheapest option. It means avoiding unnecessary friction. Picture two versions of retirement. One feels tense. Every decision carries weight. Travel feels like a gamble. Healthcare is a constant background worry. The other feels steady. Choices feel reversible. Travel feels enjoyable again. Healthcare feels managed, not threatening. The difference isn't intelligence, it's clarity. One of the quiet ways retirees lose flexibility is by locking in decisions too early, especially with income sources that can't be undone. Once income becomes permanent, flexibility shrinks. Confident retirees value optionality. They don't rush. They sequence decisions. They understand that timing affects healthcare just as much as totals. Most confident retirees follow a simple framework. Income awareness. Know what affects healthcare calculations and what doesn't. Lifestyle. Design. Plan healthcare around how you want to live, including travel. Timing decisions. Delay irreversible choices until flexibility is no longer needed. This framework doesn't eliminate healthcare costs. It eliminates anxiety. Here's the realization most retirees discover too late. Healthcare planning doesn't limit your retirement lifestyle. Poor healthcare planning does. When healthcare is planned well, it fades into the background. When it's not, it quietly becomes the decision maker. If retirement is a few years away, this is your advantage window. This is the time to understand income flexibility, build diversity in where money comes from, think through travel and location, and design a calm transition, not a rush one. Fixing healthcare planning before retirement is easier than fixing it after. If you're already retired, don't panic. Planning still helps. Review your income structure. Understand your flexibility. Identify pressure points. Small adjustments can restore confidence. The goal isn't perfection. It's peace of mind. Healthcare in retirement isn't just about insurance. It's about control, flexibility, peace of mind, and freedom to live the life you work for. Confident retirees don't ignore healthcare. They integrate it into life planning, calmly and intentionally. If this video helped clarify how healthcare fits into retirement freedom, take a moment to reflect on your own plan. Not with fear, with curiosity. In the next video, we'll talk about one retirement decision many people make for emotional reasons and how it quietly affects healthcare, travel, and long-term freedom. Thank you for watching.